What's up, studs, and welcome to my Hog's Den. My name is Eric, and today we're going to talk about three important things that will set you up for success, whether you're going to be shooting on the range or actually conducting a hunt. The first thing that we're going to talk about today is mounting our scope properly so we have sideline and sight picture. We're out there engaging targets or animals on a hunt. The second thing that we're going to cover is bore sighting our rifle without any type of fancy equipment. And the last thing we're going to do is zero our rifle. Let's head out to the range.
All right, fellas. So we're out on the range now. Got all of our gear prep ready to go. That's me checking the barrel, making sure longitudinally and laterally that it's level. And now we're going to take our scope. I have an Arkin, making sure I want it in the proper place. This is a perfect time for me to actually mount my scope because I need to shorten up my length of pull. So good time for me to do it right now. Now we get a little bit closer. As you can see right there, there's a little LED light indicator right there on the right side of the chassis. That is a SG Pulse. It's great for when you're shooting to make sure that you're level with your gun before you take a shot. But right now, I'm making sure the undercarriage of the scope rings, the teeth, are actually biting down on the Picatinny rail properly. Now, I don't do anything crazy as far as like pushing any type of pressure down and forward. I just make sure that it's snug and it's good. And right now, I'm taking my wrench and I'm hand tightening these screws to make sure it doesn't fall off. That's all I'm doing. Nothing crazy, no special pattern or anything like that. I'm just making sure that the scope is on the Picatinny rail. Hand tight, and that's all. Now, I put the torque adapter on my wrench, and I'm taking my time moving up in increments of 10 because the total inch pounds for these rings, scope rings, is 30. So as you could see previously earlier in the video, I started with the first screw and then I skipped and then I went to the next one and then I went to the front and then I go back to the one that I skipped. I do that in 10 increments all the way up to 30 and I take my time. I don't rush it or anything like that. I want to make sure it's good to go. Now, with this, I always tell shooters, like, don't be afraid to ever take your scope off your gun, especially when you're traveling, like, domestically or internationally, because you don't want that thing to get damaged, right? Like, take it off the gun, wrap it around in foam, or even put it in clothing that you're actually packing out and for padding purposes. You want to protect that thing because that's, how you're actually going to be able to engage targets. So don't be afraid to take it off your gun. It's not a big deal. That's why I'm demonstrating this now, taking it off and put it on. Now we get a little topographic view here. And again, we're using our handy dandy bubble level. You can get this anywhere again at Lowe's, Amazon, Home Depot for a couple bucks. It doesn't break the bank or anything like that. It's perfect. It's small, fits in my fitted stick pouch. And as you can see, we were level across the board there. Now, we were taking these top screws and we were doing a star pattern. Starting from the top left down to the bottom right, up to the top right, and to the bottom left. I start at the front ring and then work my way back to the back ring. Now, These screws in particular are rated for 18 inch-pounds. So I work in 6-inch-pound increments and I take my time. This is a tedious process, but absolutely necessary so that way the screws are torqued properly. You don't want to over torque because you can crush the tube and destroy the internal components and it'll be a bad day. So we don't want to do that. We want to take our time, make sure everything is good to go before we actually start shooting here. Now this should be the final pass, final touches before we move on. But we are making sure that this is torqued properly all the way to 18 inch-pounds in 6-inch-pound increments. Now this is the second portion of the demonstration where I'm bore sighting. I line up my barrel on target, I look down, make sure it's good to go, it's lined up on target, and then I look at my scope and see if my reticle is on target, which it is. Now this is me in place and putting back my cheek piece so that we can look down the bore, making sure we got clear sight alignment, sight picture before we BZO here. Now the last portion is here, me BZOing. Now before I take a shot here, I make sure I get behind the gun, get lined behind the gun, apply all the basic fundamentals of good marksmanship. As you can see, I'm adjusting for parallax right now. I check in the scope, move my head around. If the reticle doesn't move and the target doesn't move, I eliminated parallax.
All right, studs, we're back in the den. Now, just to review what we talked about and demonstrated today. First thing we did was we leveled our scope and mounted it properly per the specs. 2, we bore sight without any type of fancy technology. And 3, we zeroed our rifle to be ready for the hunt or any type of match that we want to execute. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you guys have any questions or concerns, drop me a comment in the section. I really love to hear back from you. And remember, speed is first, but accuracy is final. Catch you later.